So for those of you who are pregnant and living in Egypt, or you're abroad and thinking of coming to Egypt to give birth, you may be having some concerns or some worries about what that's going to be like. So I would like to share with you my own personal experience giving birth in Egypt and how positive it actually really was. Women's Hospital was where I decided to have my baby. It is a beautiful new hospital located in Mohandesin, Cairo. This location was ideal for me because it is very close to Zamalek where I live, about a 10 to 15-minute drive. I wasn't too keen on the idea of choosing a hospital any further away because Cairo traffic is absolute madness and can take a really long time to get anywhere. The Women's Hospital is very modern, clean, organized, and well equipped. They have several different sizes of rooms to choose from to stay in after your delivery. Some even have a kitchen and a large seating area. Their nursery also has cameras set up that you can access on the TV in your room, so you can keep an eye on your baby while he or she is in the care of the staff. The delivery room was really spacious and clean as well. I would say overall, the hospital provided me with a standard of care that I would normally receive in the States, except in my opinion, it went more efficiently. Most of the nurses I met there spoke English, and I didn't face any communication problems with anyone. I felt that my care was really important to the staff, and even though I only stayed for one day before going home, everyone made my stay so comfortable, and they promptly took care of me when I was in any kind of pain. I did choose to go with the natural birth with the epidural, and everything went completely smoothly from the time I walked into my doctor's office, from the time that Noor was born. Everything was perfect. I had no hiccups, no problems, nothing. We did have to arrange prior to giving birth, having my husband present in the delivery room, because in Egypt, a lot of doctors and hospitals maybe don't allow that. So that is something you need to talk to your doctor about if you wish to have your husband present during the birth, so that way they can make arrangements prior to the delivery. It's important to note that depending on which doctor you choose, which area of Egypt that you live in, or which hospital you choose to give birth at, could all be determining factors of whether or not you have a positive or a negative experience giving birth in Egypt. It is really important to know that Egypt has a predominant C-section culture, and a lot of that has to do with the doctors constantly pushing for a C-section, and they make more money this way, so they do try to push women into getting a C-section or trick them into getting one. There are doctors like the one I used, Dr. Ayman, however, that are honest and good. It is important to know that you have birthing options and to find a doctor that can educate you on these options and not just say, oh, you're going to have a C-section and that's final. You know, my doctor actually took the time to educate me on all my birthing options, the recovery time of each, and let me decide which one for myself was best for me. Dr. Ayman was just absolutely fantastic. My sister-in-law actually used him and referred him to me after I had some horrific experiences with visits to doctors prior to visiting Dr. Ayman. I did meet a doctor in a very fancy office in Zamalek that, you know, didn't really focus much with me, and he got my due date wrong by over a month. He tried to give me a shot that I didn't need, and the wait time of his office was ridiculous. I was there for like 2 hours to be seen, and that's crazy. So with Dr. Ayman, I never waited more than like 10 or 15 minutes to be seen. It was just an all-around positive experience with everything. I do recommend going with a doctor that you know someone else used or a family member has used here. It's just better that way. That way you know like what you're getting and you're going off someone else's experience. It's much better than hopping on Google here and just looking for a gyno in your area. So if you're on Facebook, I do recommend going into an expat women in Egypt group, for example, and asking the women there if they've given birth in Egypt, and if so, which gynecologist do they recommend. I would like to add that health insurance is something that I don't have and have not used since I've lived in Egypt all my 6 years here. The cost of healthcare here, if you have a foreign currency, of course, is like super affordable. In US dollars, my doctor's appointments were about $20 each time, and I went twice a month. And the entire cost of the delivery including my medication and even like the food I ate, everything was $900. Now the average cost of childbirth in America is around like $10,000, so it's a huge difference. So health insurance really wasn't something that I was so concerned about. Women Hospital, where I gave birth, is a private hospital. I don't really recommend giving birth in a public hospital unless, of course, that's your only option. Public hospitals aren't very clean, they're ill-equipped, they're just all around filthy, most of them anyway. And a private hospital, you're just gonna have better care, better service. You know, if an emergency is happening with your baby, they're gonna be more equipped to handle it. So that would definitely be like the best option, is to go for a private care. And as I stated earlier, it does sometimes depend like what area of Egypt you're living in. That will determine whether or not you're going to have a positive or a negative experience. If you're living in like a village, for example, in Egypt, your options might not be that great for giving birth. It might be like public hospital, it might be like something not very equipped. So from my own experience, I'm giving to you from like the big city of Cairo. So my experience is going to be completely different, more than likely, from someone like living in a village. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you found this video helpful and that it has helped to ease any fears you might have about giving birth in Egypt. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments or send me a message on Facebook.